Okay, this is Rich, Lance, and Matt. Group 4. Is this 215? This is for mini project 17. 3 left. And down. And they were using Solver. So something I just learned about and installed on my computer today. Here it goes. All right, so where are you guys at on the main project? Lance, we're just talking offline. Neither one of us are quite sure how to do the parameters in Solver. Okay. Have you looked at it yet?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay. One thing I was also explaining, I calculated and wrote down if we use the maximum capacity for each crop, how much money each one can make, and how much land each one will need to grow. And also converted them the 1.2 acres into square feet. So that's as far as I got. Hopefully I can figure it all out together.
All right, here we go. Come on. Okay, I have mine pulled up.
All right.
So what's the question?
So we're not sure which exceptions we need to put into Solver and come up with the number to grow. Because I don't think we can change the price unless I'm not misunderstanding something.
Okay, so set up then we'll help our. Okay. Using option buttons. Okay. All right, so it sounds like you'll probably be doing a checklist. So
checklist. Yeah, I guess.
But I would do a checklist on my my dashboard so that they can highlight which ones they want, and then down in the bottom of my data sheet, I would kind of have all the data that gets pulled from the data sheet to the dashboard when it's highlighted. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't have. Let's start here. Let me. Page layout. All right, so let's see here. Not a slicer. Crap, I forgot how to put in a checklist. I'm trying to think how to do it again.
Which one?
Just putting in a checklist. I forgot how to do it. It's escaping me as I speak. But what I would do is I would do the checklist so that it can be chose, because that's what it wants. It doesn't want a drop down menu.
Right.
Developer. Control groups. Okay, so this is how I would do it. Here, I'll share my screen real quick.
All right, good.
Okay, so insert a couple of these like option things.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course make it look really pretty. But so you'd want it where they can choose. So they can,
Remind me, where are those at again? Which menu?
it's going to be under your developer tab.
Oh, okay.
And then there is a way. Format controls.
That's just like select the data they want.
Yeah, and then you can make your text the way you want it. I'm trying to remember. Don't move or size with cell. Size.
What I did on those last time is I just created them and then expanded them after they're on the workbook.
Yeah, I can't remember.
You click on one of the corners, you can make it either bigger or smaller.
Right. Well, I'll just make a new one.
Is that what you're trying to do?
No, I mean, I can make it as big as I want. What I'm trying to remember how to do is you can link them all together where they're all pretty much the same. So it's not just one or one. You can keep clicking on them and like check them all off.
Yeah, never knew that.
I think you have to set up like query boxes, I think is what it's called.
Is that what they are?
I think so. Let me double check. It says insert button. Group box, I think is what it was. You have to group the box of the around each indicator.
Yeah, there'll be much help. Sorry, guys. I'm sure I'm in a terrible class.
Buttons. I mean, you could do it like this too, if you wanted to, make them buttons. But
that would probably work for what it's asking for.
Yeah. Grouping.
Because it's asking for something that you can select. That'll be a good route.
Yeah, I can group them, but I forgot. controls. I forgot how to do this now. Property. Anyways, I'll have to go watch the video real quick just to remember how to make it where you can check things instead of just doing that. But I would just do the option buttons like this, and then this is gonna make it. You'll have like a column out here that equals true, and then that's how you're gonna determine if you'll probably use like a if statement. So like if says true, then use in the formula. If not, just ignore it. That's what I would do.
A nested if statement that's linked to each option.
Yeah, and then linking it to I would just do an if statement for each one. So like a super long one because it looks like it'll just be 1, 2, 4, so 8. So you just have like 8 if statements that just kind of you can link it like right here if it's true, so it doesn't look all cluttery, or you can hide it like you did it in the tutorial.
And remember to delete the TPDs so it doesn't confuse the formula.
Yeah, but anyways, so that's what I would do. But
Any idea how we set the solver up?
let me look at the solver real quick.
We're talking a little bit up. While we're waiting, everyone was really sure which one we're supposed to be changing.
Okay, so create a dashboard that shows the facility member to choose. Oh, well, never mind. So create a dashboard sheet that allows the facility member to choose one of the 8 types of crops using, and then when he selects a crop, the dashboard should summarize all the relevant information for the crop. Oh, this is super easy. I was thinking it's going to be a little bit harder because he had to do like a few other things. So you can just do what I just showed you in terms of just adding like a bunch of buttons in. You'll just rename the buttons. And then you'll just do VLOOKUPs for the information.
Well, videos would be easier to use index.
Or just index it, that's fine too. Either way works. And the facility members also consider purchasing more. What was that?
No. If I'm understanding the instructions right, we're basically just making one dashboard that will populate itself based on which one of the 8 options is selected.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So like this, if I hit option 8 or like the option button 8, I'd have all my data like right here or something where it would just pop up. If I hit a different button, all the other data would just pop up in the same. So if you just do
I think I'm getting that part. I'm sure I'd set the solver up.
Okay, so on dashboard also input cells allow them to enter total types of land yield for profit. Okay, so you're gonna have, you would go to your data and you're gonna go to your solver installed. So the changing cells are gonna be your acreage. So you're gonna put your acreage one in here is your changing variable because that's the only thing that's changing. And then your restraints are going to be how much land he has, which would be his, let's see, because he wants to know total profit. So you're going to have your total profit equals plant, maximum plants available from supplier. This is also another constraint that you have to keep in consideration. So you have to, the maximum number of plants available from supplier. So,
and I'm figuring out how much the total available square footage is. I wrote it down for you guys. So
what's the question again? Like, what are you trying to figure out? Just like the solver, right?
Yeah, we weren't sure like which one of the cells to change. But, yeah, changing the
so
footage.
The amount of acreage he has is changing because that's what he wants to enter into a cell as acres. So he's going to, so on the dashboard, include an input cell that allows him to enter the total amount of land he will farm for profit. So your how much land is going to be your changing cell, but your restriction is also going to be how much land he has. So it's going to be, you're going to use it twice.
Yeah, and I figured that out. If you guys need that.
Okay, so does that answer the question, or is like there's more?
I think so.
Oh, okay. So I think that's how I would do it. So I would do like the option buttons or whatever you feel most comfortable with, and then have the information that's going to be here that is relevant that they want to pull up. So like the profit per plant, the maximum number from supplier, and then of course your ground
required per crop.
Yeah. So like pretty much these things that you pull up will be what it needs. The only thing, are we letting the person do the solver himself though? So like he just has to hit solver because.
Again, I hear what you said.
Are we
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, no. So are we? Is the person gonna be able to do the solver, or do we need a button that they push to solve it? Because you can make a macro for it, which we haven't gone over.
I don't think we need to do that. Like, if I'm understanding the video right, like the solver's already saved with the workbook. So if they want to go back in and change the solver later, they can do that.
Right. Okay. Well, so
I would think just make the solver.
Guys, if I may interject here, I'm going to show you what I did with my solver, and see if you're all on board with that, or if you think there needs to be some tweaks. Let me go ahead and get this set up. Okay. So this is what I have. I've set up my constraints, which is really only the acreage.
Right.
And then I have the need listed off. I've had this computed to essentially however many this quantity to be planted, so long as it equals the amount of square feet right here.
Yep.
Then with the profit, I have that calculated with pretty much, and this is all after I've set up the solver. It would do the quantity to be planted right here, and then times each section by the profit per plant. So with my solver, what I did is I set the objective as the need of the profit down here. And then the changing variable cells on here, I set up as the F column right here. And then the constraints that I set up, I made sure that essentially, for instance, it has C17 must be less than or equal to D15. Let me see.
And that's the 52,272.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the rest of these, I just simply state that I state that essentially the maximum number of plants cannot exceed the number. So the quantity to be planted cannot exceed the maximum number of plants from the supplier.
You're saying D70 has to be less than or equal to C17?
Yeah, the C17, which is essentially this right here.
Yeah, that's land to hills in square footage.
Right. It has to be less than that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, and this is essentially what it came up with. Do you guys feel like I missed anything?
So, go to your dashboard.
I haven't set up a dashboard yet.
Oh, okay. So with the dashboard, that's what's gonna. So that I think they're looking at on an individual level. They're not looking to see what combinations they can get.
Right.
At least from what I got from the. I'm just making sure I understand. So from what I read from the instructions, they're pretty much just saying, look, this is not. We're looking at one plant, one thing.
Right, and I think I'm on the same page with that.
And like I understood it to be like, how much do we grow of what to make the most money?
Right. So I've set it up to make the maximum profit, but then what the dashboard indicates is how much of each item does he need to buy in order to plant.
Yeah.
To make that profit.
That sounds right to me.
And I think he doesn't necessarily want us to indicate all of them, just one at a time. So I don't think we need to set up that box around each one on the developer tab. Yeah, I don't think he wants us.
They want to have one dashboard that can change based on which of the 8 options is selected.
Well, I think the dashboard is supposed to change depending on which of the options they suggest.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Sorry?
That was my understanding as well.
Yeah,
there's one dashboard that changed.
Yeah, I think they want the one dashboard available. Let's see. And then I think on the third one, when it talks about an input cell for the acreage, that's where you can come back to this section where the constraint. I simply typed in 1.2, but once I get my dashboard up, I'm actually going to link it to the input that the people want. So then it will change the square footage, which in turn would change the solver.
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
Is there anything that you guys think needs to be looked at?
We covered all, unless there's something I'm misunderstanding.
Okay. I mean, I'm hoping that this all works out.
Only time will tell.
I know, right?
It did look right to me.
Yeah. It was interesting when I first set up my solver. I instead set it to the total amount of acreage to maximize that, and it ended up giving me something very small. But by setting it up so that way it would consider the total profit for maximum, then it changed it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Well, is there anything else?
I think that's it for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just throw a reminder out. Like anything that the solver is referencing, that still needs to be a formula, otherwise it doesn't know how to interpret it.
Yeah. Well, it needs to be referencing anything that it would change. Like for instance, when it talks about the, let's see, if I go back to the solver, hang on one sec. Okay, sorry, I'm just going back to my solver. So the set objective needs to be the profit. And we need to just be sure that the changing variable cells are the quantity that will alter.
Okay, that sounds right. Perfect. And you guys available to meet for mini project 18?
Friday is probably going to be our best day with conference weekend.
Yeah, that's true.
I was thinking that too. Should we say same time?
Yeah.
Friday will be fine for me at the same time.
Perfect.
We'll go with that then.
So I'll set that up and then I'll get the link sent out. And I'll send you guys a link to this one after I stop the recording and publish it.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah, we'll talk to you guys Friday.
Sounds good.